Hey, it's Tpok. I'm back in Katawa Shoujo, and as you can see, I've got a new image because I have made it into Act 4. So yeah, I know that's Hanako's hand. Don't know what she's touching though. And truancy, so she's skipping out again. I woke up, took my pills, had a nice shower, quickly slipped on my uniform, ate a tasty breakfast, grabbed my bag, and headed off, as per my usual daily routine. It was only after arriving in class that the normality of the day was thrown off. After taking my seat, I watched my classmates trickle into the room over the next hour until every empty seat was eventually taken, other than Hanako's. Why don't they have eyes? That's kind of weird. I can never get used to the idea that she just doesn't show up to class every now and again. It feels all the more worrying now, given that Lily's left. As Matao continues to drone on, I find my gaze flicking ever so often to her seat, as if she might appear there any moment now. Nobody else seems to care at all about her absence, but they have little reason to. Hanako being absent from class, after all, is perfectly normal, or at least it was. Her attendance hasn't been all that bad from what I've seen in my time here, but it was apparently much more spotty beforehand. This is also an ominous time for her to be gone. It's the day before her birthday, and my suspicions are starting to rise after the breakdown she had in class when it was mentioned. An increasing amount of my thoughts is taken up by how I can help her, but in the end I feel like I can't do anything. The bell heralding the beginning of lunchtime rings out, shaking me out of my thoughts. A collective sigh of relief can be heard from the class, though Matao looks quite put off. He dislikes being interrupted in the middle of his exciting lectures, after all. Just when I was wondering what I should do on lunch break, given that Hanako and Lily aren't here, the solution presents itself. Afternoon, Hichan. Dots. Afternoon, Misha, Shizune. You both look bright as ever. Shi-chan wants to know if you'd like to have lunch with us today. Sure, it'll be good to have some company. The cafeteria hums with activity, much like my old schools did. Yamaku is different though, in how strangely civilized the lunchtime rush is. What one would expect to be an unruly mob chomping at the bit to get to the serving area is rather a neat and organized line. That is not at all like how my high school was. It was like there wasn't even a line. It's just like there is an open area where there's food, and then there are cash registers. That's where the lines eventually go to, but it's really just like a mob that would just go in, grab whatever possible, shove people out of the way, trying to get in line the fastest. Especially on smoothie day, because my school had some deal with the local smoothie place, and so there are like smoothies every Monday or Tuesday, I don't know. But yeah, for only like $1, for like, I don't know, pretty decent sized smoothie. Anyways, there's a small amount of jostling, and people's heads are often craning around to check on what's happening up ahead, but it's pretty subdued. This is due, no doubt, to the very serious rules regarding such matters in this school. The same strict discipline is observed when students move in the hallways or come to and from their dormitories and the school gate. While the reasons... Just heard a sound. Oh, that's the class talking. Or the people I hit the button. While the reasons for it may be slightly off-putting, I've come to quite like this sense of order that's enforced in the school. I didn't really like being told by Shizune and Misha to get their lunches though. I feel a little used as I take a seat at the table where they're sitting, plunking their food down in front of them. Sweet bread and strawberry and milk for Misha, a bowl of ramen and juice for Shizune. I heave a sigh of relief as I put it all down. after the significant difficulty I had carrying it in addition to my own lunch. Thank you. Misha claps her hands together before popping the wrapper and digging into her bread ravenously. Shizune simply gives an appreciative nod before giving her steaming ramen a stir and blowing on it a little to cool it down. I open my own lunch, another packet of sweetbread, and take a bite before washing it down with some juice. The bread is very sweet, so much so that I end up forcing myself to stomach it just to get the experience over with. Midway through, I decide to take a break from the difficult task and ask what's on my mind. So, I'm guessing you two had a reason to drag me down here? You two seem to always have an ulterior motive after all. What are you saying, Hifan? What? Oh. She's talking with her mouth full. We won't have any motive. Her mouth is full of sweetbread as she speaks. It's a pretty unpleasant sight. Shizune looks a little grossed out before going back to eating her ramen. I wait until Misha swallows what she had in her mouth before speaking again. You're not buttering me up to make me work with you after school. Nope. Trying to extract information from me that I might not want to give? Nuh-uh. Fine, you win. I guess you just wanted to eat lunch with someone as intelligent and handsome as me then. That's it, Hichan, you got it. Shizune looks unimpressed as Misha finishes signing our conversation, and sucks in the last of a long noodle as she signs her own thoughts. Shichan says you shouldn't be so suspicious of us. She's just doing her duty as a class representative after all. How are you doing that? As much as I hate to admit it, it looks as if I still have trouble communicating with Shizune. It should be a simple matter of keeping eye contact with her and addressing Shizune instead of Misha in my speech, but when somebody else is doing the talking for her, it's a surprisingly difficult task. It's the class representative's job to ensure everybody's doing alright in class, isn't it? Not really? What? Wait, how is making me getting your food ensuring that I'll go well in class? Shizune huffs and adjusts her glasses disapprovingly. So this is the thanks we get for giving you companionship during your lunchtime? That's a total dodge of the question. Wait, hang on. How did you know that Lily's away and Hanako is absent, and since those two are the only people you hang around with, you also made it kind of obvious to see. Ouch. I may well have done so, but she didn't need to rub it in. Maybe this is payback for before. Right, well, thanks. I appreciate it, and that isn't sarcasm. The two nod, and we get back to finishing our meals. It feels a bit embarrassing to be accompanied just because they noticed I was lonely, but it isn't as if they're strangers either. It isn't long before I finish the last of my bread and start on the last of my juice, and as I do so, I find my mind wandering back to what I'd been thinking about before the two interrupted my train of thought. It feels like I'm the only one in class that so much as acknowledges Hanako not being there. It felt like this the other time she skipped class, but now it's even more acutely annoying. Does nobody care if she's happy or not? Have they just written off any possibility of helping to make her better? Even Matao doesn't try to keep her in class, and I'm still not wholly convinced by his reasoning. Hey, Hichan, is your juice past its expiry date? What? What? You were pulling a weird face like this. As if it were needed. Misha mimics my own expression. Her exaggeration makes me grimace, though Shizune at least takes some amusement from it. I was just thinking about Hanako. Oh? Misha's interest is piqued, and so is Shizune's once my words are interpreted for her. I'm just worried about her being absent so often, especially now though, what with her birthday coming around. The memories of that incident in class are still fresh in their minds. Their faces alone are telling that much. That's the first sad Shizune face I've seen, and then that face Misha has like all the time. Do you know anything about Hanako? Anything that might help? Misha shrugs and looks to Shizune, who mulls on this for a while. The only people she's ever talked to for more than a sentence or two are you and Lily. Shizune might not be able to convey Lily's name in a derisive tone of speech, but I feel as if it comes through in her sign language. The effect is lost, however, after Misha's interpretation. There are a couple of things we know about Hanako as student council members, thanks to the records that pass through our hands, but we can't say anything about what's in them. Understandable. It sounds a lot like the nurse's patient confidentiality. Every time I find someone that knows something about Hanako's past, it turns up being a dead end. The only way I'll ever find out is by asking her. I don't know if she'll let me know such things, but if it's for her sake, I have to at least try. Don't worry about it, Hichan. It happens every year after all. That doesn't remove my sense of worry at all. I feel a little at fault for what happened in class, but this feels like it goes further, even without their confirmation of the fact. Misha notices my troubled expression, her own usually happy and reassuring face dropping. Everyone has problems they have to deal with, right, Hichan? Yeah, I just wish I could help Hanako more with hers. With that, the conversation trails off on a depressing note. Eventually, Misha manages to pick the mood back up through her usual bright and bubbly antics, but my mind remains focused on Hanako. I'll go check on her later. Or right now. Oh no, not Kenji. I haven't seen Kenji in forever. It's been awesome. I make sure my door is locked after dropping off my school bag. The dorms are quiet, but Tao keeps me occupied longer than I expected, discussing my studies after classes, and it impressing on me some worksheets to give to Hanako almost as an afterthought. Absorbed in thought, I'm late in registering the shadow that appears in front of me. Kenji. Looking up reveals the owner of the said shadow. Hey man, haven't seen you in a while. I know it's been great. Oh, hi. What's with that response? My absent-minded greeting visibly annoys him. I'd probably have said this, have had the same reaction. Sorry, just thinking about a lot of stuff. Thinking is a pretty poor excuse to not be aiding the war effort. And how goes the war? I'm preparing. Right now, I need money to help with those preparations. He's gonna buy pizza, or something like that. If you want me to loan you money, just say it. Oh man, I'm good. You're good? You don't want my money? Hey man, don't look so surprised. It's insulting. I'm pretty big in the competitive bowling scene, but yesterday I found some guys who didn't know that. I'm fairly sure that betting would be against the school rules. School rules don't matter. This is a war situation. People these days, they have no appreciation for what war means. So what do you need this money for, dare I ask? Non-perishable canned food, building materials, mostly corrugated iron and wood panels, first aid kit, camping heater, portable radio, sleeping bag, flashlight, mechanical clock, hatchet, katana, weapons of mass varieties. At first it strikes me as a rather random assortment of objects and materials, but after a few seconds it clicks. Isn't that a list of materials for a fallout shelter? Shelter? Ah, so you've read a Protect and Survive booklet. It's good to see someone so knowledgeable about how to protect themselves. You don't seriously think that's gonna offend him? It's a non-zero possibility. No, I'm pretty sure that there's a 0 possibility of that ever happening. He slowly and dramatically raises an eyebrow, or both in the animation's case, as well as dramatically as one can raise an eyebrow. The chance is, I don't know, 0.1 to the trillionth place. It's infinitesimal. Besides, where can you build a fallout shelter out anyway? Certainly not on campus. It's my summer holiday project while I'm at home. My dad says I can do it. Really? Yeah, he thought it'll improve my crafting skills and manual dexterity or something. Knowing Kenji, his dad probably just thought it might keep him out of his hair for a while. Still, it does make me wonder what his parents are like. Maybe they're totally normal, and Kenji's just an aberration. On the other hand, maybe this is the kind of paranoia and fearful survivalism that runs in the family. Hey, you want to help me build it? You look like the type that can be handy with tools. If I had your help, we could make a really badass bunker instead of just a fallout shelter. I doubt that. Playing soccer before my accident gave me good footwork, but I've never really tried my hand at anything approaching real handiwork. I'm not really. I'm busy over the holidays. Anyway, I'm afraid. A shame. If all the feminists ever get a hold of the launch codes, I fear that so few will be prepared. And your fallout shelter will protect you from a nuclear bomb explosion in the case of that this does happen? A fallout shelter isn't meant to protect against the blast. That's what